Hello everyone. What you will be witnessing now is something you're not used to. It's a really sensitive topic in Lebanon especially. I will be opening today the door to talk about the trans community in Lebanon, and I will be interviewing a trans person to talk in depth about her experience so far in Lebanon. Just a disclaimer that none of this was scripted. All the questions were not prepared. They were done on spot. Everything said throughout the video is completely 100% true. So I hope you like it. Thank you.
I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and bright.
نحن we're rolling, eh?
We're rolling. I don't know why I'm nervous لأنه ماني عارف كيف بدي بلش. Okay, first of all,
I am not a homosexual.
so, actually امبارح you are. هي it's under. How old are you?
17.
Which pronoun would you like me to address you as?
She, her.
So the female
Yeah.
pronouns. Okay. What do you identify as?
In what sense?
So, for example, if someone asked about your sexual orientation, what would you tell them?
I think my identity is very complex, and it's my sexual orientation is a part of my identity, but it's definitely not the whole thing. You know, like my identity is comprised of my nationality, my sexual orientation, my gender identity, my hobbies, my interests, my passions. This all creates my gender identity. But in terms of my sexual orientation, it's a bit of a confusing question. Yani. I'm into men almost exclusively, but the question is, what am I considered as? So some people would say that I'm straight because I'm a woman, and I'm a woman that's into men, so that would be identified as straight. But I'm not a female. I haven't transitioned.
So you identify as a woman?
Yeah, I am a trans woman.
Let's go back a little bit more to your childhood. I know how was your childhood is a vague question, but a lot of people would wonder, or would think, and you became trans or you became gay because of some incident that happened throughout your childhood. Do you think anything happened throughout your childhood that's made you the way you are now? Or you think you were born this way? خلاص.
I had the most normal childhood, like literally ever. ربيت بالسعودية وهيك, بس we were in a compound, like normal friends, everything. I had a really good childhood يعني. ما صار شيء خارق أو شيء. I hate when people say this because.
They usually link it to being sexually assaulted.
But what does, like, I would go back to saying my gender identity has nothing to do with my sexual orientation. I don't even know how, like, logically you would connect these two. This is just how I am, and I've been like this all my life. All my life, this doesn't mean I'm trans. This doesn't exclusively mean you're trans. Just, I've always leaned to the more feminine side with بكل شيء. يعني كنت نحب حدا. I liked, even as a child, being placed as a girl in every aspect, Like I would hate, like I remember, like even when I was like 5 or something, and teacher goes like boys one side, girls one side, I could over this. Because I hated, because I didn't feel like the guys she told me to stand with. I felt like the girls that they're standing there. Why can't I stand with?
Do you prefer to stand with the girl?
Yeah.
Do you think your parents, I'm not gonna say helped shape you, but gave you enough of freedom to be this way, or do you think they were suppressive? I'm asking this question because there's a lot of trans people, even gay people. You were mentioning, being gay is much easier than being trans. Throughout their childhood, they would blame it on the parenting and the way they were disciplining their child.
I didn't specifically. I'm saying for me, I didn't specifically say being gay is easier than being trans because everyone's experience is different. Maybe a transgender person living in LA is gonna have way more privileged life than a gay person living.
We're talking about Lebanon.
حتى the idea is like about where your family comes from, what your beliefs are, what social circle you're in. Are you part of the bougie bourgeoisie circle, or like a really underprivileged, like financial wise circle? And this all affects. And I بكره التعميم. I hate generalization, and I didn't want to come off like this. بس you know, Nazih, أنت, have your parents shaped you in any way?
No.
Your parents have ever affected?
Told me what to do, you mean?
No, in general, have your parents affected who you are today as a person?
I don't think
Do you share? You don't think so? Yeah. I'm trying to say, why do we ask gay people or queer people this question when everyone is affected by their parents? And my parents were not ultra feminist, till pride, and they were not like holy, ما بعرف شو extremists. We were normal people. يعني. If I came out normal, you wouldn't be asking this question. You know, everyone's affected by their parents من ناحية, and why do we stress on it so much with queer people?
Yeah, let me clarify something. A lot of people believe in the people who come out as gay or come out as trans or whatsoever. Sometimes it's related to parenting, the way your parents were treating you, or the way that your parents were disciplining you, or the way your parents were raising you.
بس حتى that argument, queerness is not a phenomenon. So many people across the world are queer. And when I say queer, I'm using it loosely, like gay or trans or whatever, any non-normative identity. And so all these people have such different backgrounds and different parents. There's no one common parenting method that leads you to be this way, and it's really just someone's nature. I don't think it's the way you're nurtured. I think it's someone's nature. What's it caused by? We don't know. Does it matter? No. Anjad, we like try to look into the psychology of why gay people gay and why are trans people trans, why are straight people straight and why are cis people cis. It doesn't matter. The point is we're like this. That's all that matters. Anjad, يعني.
When did you discover or knew that you're trans?
Like accepting my queer identity was like a journey for me. Like I realized that I've always been different, which is maybe we hear this a lot from queer people. I've always been different, whatever. But it's true, and I've always been different in the sense where I would like get attracted to these more stereotypically or socially acceptable as like feminine things, from how I like to dress or how I like controlled my body. What I like to present as, what I like to play, listen to. These are all stereotypically more feminine things, and I felt maybe my place in society wouldn't fit as a man, But I realized I like men when I was 13, and I immediately came out as gay, and it was something relatively easy for me to do. I came out to my parents, I came out to everyone.
Ah, so your parents know?
My parents think I'm gay. Oh, I'm not gay.
They don't know that you're trans.
No.
You were just like describing the situation as if you like feminine stereotypical stuff to do, right? Why aren't you gay then? What makes you different?
So that's the thing. Being gay simply means you like the same sex. It doesn't refer at all to how you're like how you express your gender. It's irrelevant, Gay men aren't all feminine the same way not all straight men are masculine. Some gay men are super masculine. You know what I mean? Okay. So I think the question that you ask itself can be problematic. And I'm not saying that just because I'm feminine or I like feminine things, that's why I'm trans. This is also not. Being trans it's different than just liking feminine things. You can like feminine things. But I'm trying to say, because at the end of the day, gender is a social construct, and it is problematic to assign gender roles to people. Like, okay, so if you like this, then you're a girl. If you like this, then you're a boy. But for me, I identify as transgender because my whole existence doesn't fit with the definition of a man. If you know what I mean. It's more than just it's more than just what I want to wear. It's how I feel on the inside. It's how I identify. It's how I see myself. It's little things like I've never in my life felt handsome. I've never in my life felt handsome. I never felt like it was a word that could describe me. I've always felt pretty or ugly. And it's often confused, like sexual orientation and gender identity are confused together because society just puts everything that's queer in one box, and this is the same thing, but it's really not. Like, I like this analogy, sexual orientation is who you want to go to bed with, and gender identity is who you want to go to bed as. Which is the comment in this analogy is problematic because we're not defined by just sex, but it puts it into perspective of like to what extent does my womanhood come into place.
How did you know about the concept gay or trans? And when you were 13 years old, you mentioned you knew you were gay. How?
So I thought I was gay, but I knew I was into men. How? Social media. I always knew what gay was, yeah, and it was, I never really understood that it could be like an identity in itself until I was like 12, 13, you know, and like, I was into it and I researched it, and I would say, hatta I made like an Instagram page called like gay supporters or something like this, and like I was very into it, but through this like social media, like looking, and I identified as just an ally for a while, yeah, like as a young kid, yeah, I was like, no, I think I'm like this, and like when I hit puberty, شوي, and started being interested in sex and these things, I said, okay, no, I can't imagine being with a woman. And it's not just a sexual thing. It's just, I think it's easy to imagine I can sleep with a woman because حتى if you're fiercely straight, يعني, everyone's attracted to someone of the same sex, and it doesn't mean you're exclusively gay, yeah, because like to the root of it, there is nothing called exclusively any sexual orientation. Everyone is like sexuality is fluid. I can imagine sleeping with a woman just like everyone can. It's nothing, but actually it doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't disgust me because it's a body, but it doesn't appeal to me, and I generally can't romantically see myself as a woman with a woman. I can't imagine dating a woman because it's just not what I'm into, But that's what I found out. But then, I identified as gay for like 5 years. But there was something deep inside me, going like, especially when I met the gay community in Khabatat Mount, something inside of me that felt, I'm not like them. It's not just, okay, I'm feminine, but I'm gay. If all gay people are feminine, it's normal to see it. No, it wasn't like this, because for me, femininity was like a vital part of me. It wasn't something that I could turn off and on. It's something that if I had to hide, I felt like I was no longer myself. If somebody told me like when I used to wear a suit, مثلا, I used to hate it so much because I feel like I'm wearing a Halloween costume. It's so not me, كتير, And if I say this to people, why, imagine you're a guy, right? And say with all your body hair and like your beard, whatever, بس like dress, are you gonna feel pretty?
I don't think so.
Yeah. But if everyone's telling you you're pretty, you're pretty, you're pretty, are you gonna feel pretty? No. This is what it's like for me when I wear a suit. It's just I will never feel handsome because it's just not me.
Are you a religious person?
Yes, I am a religious person. That's Sometimes I question, when people ask me this, why are you asking me this?
Well, as you know, in both holy books, the Quran and the Bible specifically bans being different or being homosexual or being whatever. Does it affect you?
Personally, I'm Muslim, so I'm going to talk about what I know. And being transgender is not mentioned in the Quran. Okay, but there is this term in al-mukhannathun, and it's mentioned by كذا hadith. وحتى when it was mentioned there, the Prophet said to respect these people because they are people. We can't kill them because they are Muslim. And hatta like for me, I hate to dissecting for the answer I want in religion, because at the end of the day, religion is just a guidance. It's not the rule. You know what I mean? Because there are so many things we disregard in religion. Yani. We see many Muslim women that don't wear a hijab, and now it's socially acceptable. That's why. We see many Muslims that drink, and now it's socially acceptable. That's why. And or people that don't pray or don't fast but still identify as Muslim. And I think religion isn't like something that's set in stone. I think personally, religion evolves just like society does. Otherwise, it's something that was gonna hold you back. Religion evolves with the social standards that you live in.
You describe a typical day. Do people look at you differently?
I feel maybe like, yeah, the answer is yes, very obviously yes. But like, I don't. Looking at me is like the least of my problems, because the thing is with me, I'm a bit more expressive with my gender than most people, and like when I'm walking on the street, I'm in between. Yeah, and so which is I'm like more expressive than a lot of people. I'm less expressive than also a lot of people. Like, I'm not passing as a woman. You will know I'm male, but when people look at me, they'll think, okay, like هذا لوطة for sure. Or if I'm maybe dressed up some more, they'll think, okay, like هذا المتحولة أو الشرموطة, or like I'm like a sex worker. There's this stereotype that all trans people are sex workers, and I'm not a sex worker. Although I don't judge sex workers, it's okay, irrelevant. I digress. What was the question?
Okay, the question was, describe to me a typical day at your school.
Like people at school see me every day, so they're used to it at this point. And maybe school is like there's this safety net if it's a school and people aren't free to express their hate at me. بس أكيد في أشياء يعني إنه I don't use the bathroom unless it's middle of the period. Maybe نحن we're in a more prestigious school than others يعني. Thank God يعني. بس إنه there's this safety net if it is a school يعني and people aren't free to express their hate as much as they would wish to. But كمان يعني people get used to it at some point يعني. إنه أنا I go to school with nail polish on, I go to school with makeup sometimes.
The school doesn't
Heck, stuff.
say anything.
I'm very loud and I'm very like إنه I don't know خلاص if this is my right خلاص in my handbook I follow the dress code very like to the point يعني it says you can wear shorts as short as like your fingers reach and I wear exactly هالقد يعني ولا سنتي زيادة يعني هيك قصص يعني so teacher will go like show me your hands I go like bitch and like see or مثلا nail polish the handbook doesn't say boys can't wear nail polish obviously it's not so I'm gonna do it and I go like شلح and I'm like why.
So you dress up in a smart way, but understand.
But كمان I don't want to be like it's not like maybe the statement I said came off as like problematic right because it might be classist but I wasn't saying because we're in a prestigious school no one does anything but not at all بالعكس أكيد في مشاكل وفي قصص بتصير I was saying I don't go to the bathroom unless it's empty because في أشياء بتصير بالحمام إنه في أشياء people sometimes they should throw water at me things like this because I know how to answer back and because school is accredited by the US ففي the fear of losing its accreditation so they have to there's a feature discrimination and they have to act upon it so
So you get bullied at school.
I don't like this word because I have worse problems like school is and that I couldn't care less what happened in school.
Do you like what you dress up as now? Or do you prefer to dress up as the stereotypical woman?
Clothes to me are important to me because I feel they're like a little shred of expression that I'm able to do. Like I'm denied the opportunity to dress freely the way I want to because of social. We all know, because of the society that we live in, and so for me, clothing I like it to express a little part of me. I can't wear a suit. I hate myself when I'm in a suit. But today I'm just like this. Today I feel okay. كمان being trans is not always about hyper femininity. It's not like لازم البس heels لازم البس makeup لفوق عيوني.
Do you prefer that?
No, because women don't even prefer that. Like cisgendered women don't necessarily are not hyper feminine. Not all women wear a dress every day and wear like makeup every day. And at the end of the day, we're just normal people. A kid when I'm going to a club, okay, I'll put on makeup, I'll wear heels, I'll maybe put on a dress. That's different. This everyday life, at the end of the day, I'm not a costume.
I'm gonna back up a little bit and talk about your family before we continue about your personal life. You told me that your family know you as gay, not trans, right? Okay. Do you ever plan on telling them?
I don't think about it. بصراحة. I cannot as gay and it was pretty difficult but at the end of it because they're also very fiercely religious and so they truly they think I'm gonna be punished for this and so after a lot of fighting years of fighting وصلنا على conclusion إنه اشطفل okay as long as ما تفضحنا نحن the issue was like what you're gonna do between أربع حيطان اشطفل I don't care but being trans is different because it comes with visibility بتبين you can be gay and no one can know and you can die and no one knowing being trans is not like this it's literally all about self-expression telling them they wouldn't accept it because it's more difficult to come out as trans.
It is more difficult to come out as trans.
It's definitely more difficult
compared to gay.
I have experienced both and حتى accepting that I was trans was way more difficult than accepting I was gay even though I knew that both of them were totally fine and nothing was wrong with being trans and nothing was wrong with being gay but accepting I was gay was easier because it's easier to be gay.
What about your extended family?
What about them?
Outside the house? When you are in family gatherings, do you be yourself or do you have to put a mask on?
I don't know. Since I was like 4, I've been heck. After I came out, I started acting or presenting a different way. My family is very used to it. يعني أكيد. هلا maybe because I'm a bit older, they question it more. بس إنه أكيد يعني my mom أكتر dictates what I'm wearing when I'm going out with family وهيك. بس they don't know. إنه this is ما بيخطر عليهم this might be a possibility.
So you described to me a typical day in your school. Hala, I want you to describe to me a typical day outside your school. So when you go out, either with friends, with alone.
I feel like maybe it's not an exclusively trans thing, but maybe like specifically with trans people, it's very hard to have a routine. You know, there's, at least for me, I don't speak on behalf of the entire community, but for me, there is no typical day because every day is different. Every day there's something happening. Every day there's a story. You know, every day I can make a movie about it, you know, because I wake up with a different mood, different feeling every day, and I have to express a different way every day. And every day there's someone that بيلطش شي جديد or بيعمل شي جديد or there is no typical day, and it comes to a point where I'm no longer surprised by what people's reactions are to me. You know, like you know, come in. It's hard to imagine because you know you will never know what it's like to be trans, especially on the street. Being trans on the street is a real fear, and you will never know what it's like unless you walk with me 24/7 every time I'm on the street. Because من اشياء سخيفة للنظرة لللطشة للبزقة للكف للأتاك للدرك عم بيوقفوكن عم بيشلحوكن عم بفتشوكن just for walking on the street. You can, you know, saying it is one thing, living it is different.
You're only 17.
بس حتى يعني I need to stress this that I do not represent the trans community because actually no one person can represent the community, and at the same time I have a lot of privileges. Like my education is a big privilege for me. My financial situation is a privilege. Like for trans people, a lot of them have fiercely different stories than the one I have. You know, a lot of them are refugees, which is like, or might have migrant statuses, which makes things even more complicated. A lot of them are older and not dependent on someone like parents to help them financially. Housing is very difficult to find because usually the house owner will like sexually abuse the trans women who live in their houses. It's like a whole thing. I'm just,
Okay. Have you ever tried to hurt yourself?
سؤال تاني خلاص. I don't like this question.
You don't want to answer this.
No. It's too personal.
I think the situation in Lebanon, and especially Beirut, is helping the LGBT community in Lebanon, like compared to other Arab countries. Like being friendly to them, being accepting, tolerant.
Lebanon is that?
That's what I'm asking. Do you think it is?
No, at all. Like I would even say that in some situations, especially when it comes to at least normative-looking gay men, for example, gay men that you wouldn't know are stereotypically gay, and countries like Saudi, which we say is, oh my god, it's homophobic, it's so much nicer to live there than in Lebanon. Beirut, it's very complicated. And we say, okay, Saudi is a very hard place to be gay, but why? I know that if you're gay, they kill you. Okay, so this law has never ever been implemented. No one in Saudi Arabia has ever been killed for being gay. Okay, and gay community in Saudi Arabia is fucking amazing because they're men, and men in Saudi Arabia have huge privileges, and it's the underground culture in underground gay culture in Saudi Arabia is crazy. It's amazing. And then we talk about Lebanon. Oh, we go to jail for 1 year. And it's not really implemented a lot, so it's easier. Okay, but there's the cultural aspect, and there's the fact that this law is actually being applied sometimes. You know, there's the aspect that okay, نحن درك ولا تيزنا. Okay, بالسعودية مش هيك. بالسعودية it's more acceptable for like culture acceptable for men to show affection between each other. يعني حتى بالخليج بس يسلموا they rub each other's noses. يعني to that it's deeply rooted in their culture to when they see two men holding hands it doesn't ring a bell. It's normal. You know. it really annoys me صراحة when people say إنه at least Lebanon is like the best country in the Arab world. You know, yes and no. Yes and no. It really depends on who you are and how you present and what you do with your life and شو جاي على باله الدولة شو جاي على بال الدولة هلا بهاللحظة تعمل. Okay, we had gay pride. Okay, so هلا we had gay pride and Beirut pride and it went viral إنه Beirut pride وهيك وبعدين فجأة نص ال NGOs stopped being funded لأنه you have pride why you need to be funded. وإذا we have pride this doesn't mean shit. عن جد doesn't mean shit. عن جد visibility sometimes إنه it comes at a cost. يعني حتى بمصر هلا رفعوا هذا الجي flag. Okay, so everyone was like yeah yes this is a win for مصر وهيك. Before they did that if you raise the flag ما بيصير شيء. هلا حطوا قانون if you raise a gay flag فيك تروح تنحبس فيه. It's illegal صار. طب my visibility came at a cost and it was to my benefit. يعني sometimes it's complicated. ما فيني أعمم. أنا for me Lebanon was extremely difficult to live in. For me personally it's beyond imagination. عن جد.
So you would disagree with the statement that Beirut is one of the friendliest or the most tolerant cities
بلبنان. بلبنان. بالعالم العربي لا. Because it really depends who you are. يعني I'm sorry but if you're a gay man and that's masculine presenting يعني you're not gonna have the struggle of walking on the street. You're not gonna have the struggle of being arrested or being profiled by the police. يعني it goes down to being systematically oppressed by things like the law, things like social aspects like your family or hate, whatever. But for trans people, it's on-ground hate.
How do you deal with all the hate you receive from the street?
It's really just hour by hour, day by day, and you do what you need to do. يعني how would you deal with it? Someone هلا I have to go home. I'm expecting إنه في 10 أشخاص بده يلبسوا يتطلعوا يعملوا شيء. بده يدو. بطنش خلاص. What am I supposed to do? Sometimes ignore. Sometimes إنه I can't ignore because it's physical. Sometimes عن جد it حسب كل situation. يعني أنا هلا a couple days ago حدا وقفني وبزق بوجهي. طب I was shocked. بس شو بعمل؟ ببزق بوجهه شوف عن جد إنه what do I do يعني إنه I keep walking. شو بدي أعمل؟
Do you seek any psychiatric help?
No. No. No.
Do you think you would ever?
No, there's no shame in it.
No, not about being trans, but
I know.
dealing with all the hate you will receive, and أكيد it will affect your mental health.
أكيد بس إنه I know أكيد there's no shame in mental health, but for me, what's the psychiatrist gonna do it? For me, my problem is more practical than mental. I can get, okay, so you help me get over the trauma I'm facing right now, but the day after I'm gonna face more trauma. So what's the point?
Where do you see Lebanon like in the future?
And I hope it changes. I'm glad I do have an emotional connection to Lebanon. I do have this patriotism to Lebanon. Every day I feel I'm losing it slowly because I feel like I'm loving a country. I'm putting so much love into a country that just returns it with hate. But I have hope.
The last question: what do you want people to start doing after they watch this video, or after they read the article or whatever about trans people?
For me, it's just common sense. عن جد يعني. It's hard. Like we just had like an hour-long conversation, and it was just directed at my gender identity, which is the issue at stake. But at the same time, it's hard. It's easy to forget that trans people are just genuinely people. Like we have feelings. We come from all different backgrounds. We're not just the same image that you have in your brain. We don't all want the same thing. We don't all want to transition. We don't all want, we're simply people, and all I want is to be treated like a person.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for accepting to do this interview with me. Do you have any last words you want to say?
Thank you for choosing to shed light on this topic. The last thing I would want to say is get involved. And anyway, getting involved doesn't have to be going to protests. And it was, the little things of like actually using preferred pronouns of trans people, educating others on trans issues, and just having a change of heart on how you see us, for people.